So I wanted this to be my intro video showing you my dad and I building the log cabin that my grandpa originally built on a different property back in 2001. And family members watching this, please leave in the comments if that's actually accurate or not. I know it was like 2001 to 2004-ish that the construction was either started / completed. But furthermore, this video will obviously show you how my dad and I went about setting the logs after he was independently there by himself doing the foundation. Why this log cabin is so important to me is, number one, as a ton of family lineage. So my grandfather, Grandpa Bell, built this with the logs that fell in his backyard from a major tree storm in southwest Michigan back in the early 2000s. I got to actually live with my grandparents in my mid-20s when I was starting a different company outside of what I do now with Stonebrook, and that was a really special time with them. And I got to, as an adult, live. They had a gorgeous duplex, and that word is probably not even respecting how nice the property was. But the cabin was actually located in the backyard. We had Thanksgiving dinner multiple times there throughout my childhood, and so this log cabin means a lot to me. I also really appreciate northern Michigan, where it is now located, and I went to college 4 hours north of where this log cabin has been set currently. So we're always up there. I really tried to start Stonebrook to have that dream life of owning a business, being able to travel, go fishing, hence the logo, and travel between Knoxville and Michigan and enjoy and see family and do outdoor activities. So this is my dad and I setting the logs and kind of learning as we go, which is also what my grandpa did without ChatGPT, Google, basically, and just locally called up people he knew in the community. He's a very popular guy, really into the outdoors, probably past myself. He traveled all over the world. He traveled to Alaska multiple times and did huge hunting and fishing trips with my dad. And so this cabin was kind of in his older years, was that last big adventure that he went on, and he did it in his backyard. And now we're doing it up north further, where there's more snow, more activity. It's near Traverse City, Michigan, if you know that territory. And it's somewhere where I'm going to be filming a significant amount of my YouTube channel going forward, because I want to do more relaxed fishing scenes, talking about real estate and getting away from just information and getting into a little bit more infotainment type channel. So if you see those below, please click on them. I don't have them made yet as I'm filming now, but they are coming and I'm excited about it. And again, Stonebrook, I designed this business plan to be where I wanted to build a business where I had repeat business every month, where I could work with high trust relationships, and I wanted to make sure that I could build it with a team that could stay with me for the next decade, if not longer. And so property management fell into my lap after doing wholesaling. So if you have questions on wholesaling, I'm more than welcome to help. I've worked for a nationwide company, and I did it independently by myself for at least 2 years before getting into property management. And it's what actually was the capital provider to make this whole thing happen. So right now we're just hitting our 250th door, and we finalized our entire staff for that amount of units managed. We have 7 team members that follow along in leasing, billing, and maintenance, and we try to stabilize assets as best as possible, whether A class, B class, C class, and they all come with their difficulties and their upsides. So just like building this log cabin, though, it was a very learn as you go experience. I did not have any previous property management experience 4 years ago when I got into the field. That was actually one of the best things that happened, was I had no bad habits from maybe a boss that would show me property management in a different lifetime. And I really came with a very unique set of experience that I think brought Stonebrook to where it's at so fast. And so I would like to list that coaching was one of the best things I did in my mid-20s. I coached NCAA D2 and NAIA track and field cross country. And if you're watching this and you're from that part of my life, comment down below. Tell me where you're still coaching. I have buddies that are at the Division I level and Division II and Division III as well. And so that experience allowed me to learn how to lead, build incentives, and see a return on coaching for high performance athletes. And honestly, my favorite school that I was at was actually Coker College, now Coker University, where I earned my master's degree in, funny enough, college athletic administration, which does not have much to do with property management. But I got to coach 30 athletes during that season, and we beat, I think, 23 school records. And it was just really weird thing to talk about now in my early 30s that I got to do in my mid 20s, because that was the passion and goal I had back then, was to try to become a NCAA track and field coach for the long haul. And there were a lot of things that made that dream change, just based on income and the difficulty of rising through the leagues and getting to where you wanted to be. And honestly, the division I was in was the division I ran track and field in myself when I was in college. So I ran 800 meter, the mile, and I did cross country, and really enjoyed the Division II level of coaching, because it also meant that we could recruit a little bit rougher talent and then try to produce higher performing times throughout those 4 years. And so you had a lot more chance to recruit a student athlete and actually build them into an All-American, compared to at the Division I level we see at the football and basketball, they're mostly just trading the top athletes all around to make the best roster. Division II is truly where you get to put the coaching into a bigger variable of the success of the team. So writing out the training programs and making kids faster was a huge highlight at that time, and it transitioned my ability to train people in property management and leasing, the billing, and the maintenance side of our company quicker, building systems that will make them succeed, and making sure that there was a commission structure so that way there was plenty of incentive for that staff member to stay, keep growing, and honestly make the service quality that Stonebrook has currently a success. So that coaching side of things was at least a third of what's been put in the oven to come out as a success for Stonebrook Properties. The other thing is stress resiliency. Property management is probably the most stressful thing I've ever done, and that makes me laugh because I've actually worked in the special operations community with the Air Force, which I will show you. So this bad boy, another lifetime ago in my mid to late 20s, Dan Bell, run coach, special warfare prep course, July 2018 to August 2019. So just over a year, I was in Texas, San Antonio on Lackland Air Force Base. And that at the time had been the most stressful thing I've ever done. Learning how to yell at candidates and make sure that they would pass their selection course that they would go to after hours. They would go from basic military training to our 8-week course, all the way to where they get their beret in a couple years, and then go down, as they would say, downrange, and go do missions that either we do or do not agree with currently. So that community taught me a lot about how to handle stress and how to train hard. And that ultimately let me become a business owner and be able to handle it. There are a lot of times where in Stonebrook and the growth, just as I admitted previously in this video, I had no previous experience of how to be a successful property manager for my customer. And so learning throughout that first year taught me a lot of lessons of how to kind of keep jogging with the injuries and the trips of life, and making sure that I would end up being successful for my customer and making their cash flow stabilized and their investment grow. And I think that my military contracting experience, again, not in the military, never was, but my military contracting experience gave me the ability to stand tall and keep learning and growing, and failure was not an option, and it also was mandatory to go through to be successful. So that was, again, probably a third of the ingredients that would make Stonebrook now in 2025 the success that it is. And then the other third of the actual ingredients to make Stonebrook Properties as successful as it has been was, oddly enough, in my late 20s when I moved down to Knoxville, I had no idea I'd be in real estate. I actually was dating my current wife at the time, and it was mid-COVID. There was no jobs. I had left working as a military contractor to pursue that business plan I just mentioned, where I was living with my grandparents and pinching every penny and investing in that business itself. And I made the bold decision to move down to Knoxville, and I had never made six figures before, and I wanted to do that. And I started sitting on YouTube, and I realized that car sales would be the lowest barrier to entry position where I could go and try and attempt to make that six figures. And I ended up succeeding at Ted Russell Nissan down on Kingston Pike. Shout out Ted Russell Nissan. If it'll drive, it's worth 55 back in the day. Basically, that was where I learned sales, and I learned how people made decisions, and that actually impacts our lease renewal process still to this day, and our ability to negotiate and show properties and get them rented faster than other people. And we would be expected at the car lot to sell 10 to 16 cars a month, and that would set you up for right around a $12,000 to $15,000 paycheck every month. And I would succeed at that for the next 12 months when I landed down here in Knoxville. And I knew that it wasn't the lifestyle I wanted to live forever, but it taught me sales, and it's definitely skyrocketed my career and confidence in running a business, knowing how to sell customers properly, make sure that you do the things that you say you're going to do, and then also on the back end for our customers, sell the applicants on signing leases and moving forward in the process to make sure these properties are stabilized. So systems, stress, sales, those are kind of like the three things, along with the coaching aspect of it, that has made my background work perfectly for property management. And that gets me excited to just, again, show you that I wanted to gain all those skills in my 20s, so that way in my 30s I could lay them out, use them, profit on them, most importantly, so that way I could provide for my family and have the ability to go travel, hang out with my dad for it was like a 4 or 5 day trip that we were laying these logs that you're watching us build, and really just be able to do what I want to do. But I've also learned along the way that freedom, it's not free, and you got to be able to take on the stress of business if you want to have an abnormal life. And right now our goal is to be able to get up there to this cabin 90 days a year, and that's going to be an exciting goal. I've already got Starlink internet, so I can attack any issue with our landlords. The idea is to work there, and honestly, every time I go on a trip, my team gets twice as good at their positions because they do not rely on my fast responses and knowledge. And so they learn that they can be independent, make decisions, make mistakes, and then we just debrief after those mistakes are made, so that way we limit them happening again. And so oddly enough, my wife and I, we go to New York, we go to the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, we go now to this cabin every year, and during those trips I see the most team building and independent thinking on my staff over the entirety of the years when I'm gone. So that's not me trying to get to the point where I'm never in Knoxville. I'm always going to be here. I'm purchasing properties in the local area as well, and it's also where all my in-laws are. So this is our home base, but we both work remote, and we both can take action at experiencing the travel scene. And this log cabin will honestly be the least expensive trip that I could possibly think of, because there's no hotel fee unless my mom comments down below that I have to start paying rent to stay there. Luckily, there is no electrical bill. This cabin will be completely off-grid for now. We may build another structure where we have a bathroom house and can shower, so that way my wife and my sisters and my mother may actually want to be there a bit longer than just the wood burning stove that's currently going to be installed, that has been in the cabin since it was built. So that's also just something that gets me excited, where we're gonna pull up into this driveway and you'll only see this log cabin sitting there with a porch on it eventually, and it will be done this spring of 2026, and it's going to have a ton of people probably come and visit over the next first year. And I hope my grandmother has some time that she can make it up there to see it rebuilt, because when they sold their property, we had, I think my dad told me that there was a year where we could get the logs off of it, because when my grandpa and grandma sold the house, those new owners, they probably wanted the log cabin, because I would have as well. And so we definitely negotiated that we could have the log cabin. So my dad stored those logs at a friend's house, and they were deconstructed and sat for, I think, like 3 or 4 years. And so now we're at a point perfectly where in my career with Stonebrook Properties that I can actually travel and help, because back at the car lot or back when I was wholesaling, I would not have had the time to help. So I do think there's a little bit of God's plan with all of this. And in this video where you're seeing us build this cabin, it's just a great summary of, I'm trying to be able to have a life where I can travel and go spend time with my dad, go fishing, take our future kids hopefully up there to have that northern Michigan experience. And then also, you know, that's all future based, and then past tense, it has so much family lineage with my grandfather's involvement with building this entire thing with only local supplies, very limited power tools, and local help. So community members that he knew that had the experience building these cabins elsewhere came and helped, and it was a daunting task. And I remember, I mean, I was in 1st or 2nd grade when this thing was being built, and I would just be scared to go back in the backyard because I figured a log would fall on me or something else would happen. And funny enough, just to give you a fun fact before I close here, the first deer I ever shot was out of the, if you're facing the cabin, the left window. So again, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for learning about me. I'm Dan Bell with Stonebrook Properties. I'm the owner, and I want to make sure that you know who I am, what I do, and why I do it. And, you know, click below on another video to learn about property management, and we will take it from there. Rents due.